You see my screen?
We do.
Okay, great, wonderful. All right, so we have here, let me go ahead and start it back here, just some policy, kind of housekeeping features. Obviously, using computer for auto works well. If you run into issues, you can always rejoin and use the call me feature where your phone will call you back. And then if you need to drop out and rejoin, that's totally fine. I know sometimes we're all working with very different internet connections depending on where we're located. So let's go ahead and get started here. All right. So today for Bristol West, we are going to talk about target markets, some of the unique policy features that we have available with this product, how it is really going to be differentiated from some of your other carriers who offer more of a higher risk, non-standard product, and then also quoting and working with comparative raters. We're not going to get in and actually do a quote today because I think the process is very straightforward. But as I said before, I am more than happy to plan a follow-up if you guys get in there and start working with the rater, run into issues or questions. I feel like it's always good to kind of revise the, as my grandfather would say, any good battle plan lasts until first contact with the enemy. So we will revise, and you guys will have good questions after you start using this. Right. So, what are our target customers and mix when we're talking about this Bristol West auto product? As I said before, this is going to be more of a play for your non-standard products. Of course, we all know in Ohio, the elephant in the room is somebody like a Progressive. They offer that. I believe another company, Trexis, other non-standard carriers out there. But we certainly have some things that set us apart and make it a little bit easier to do business with us, as well as positively affect your retention. So, looking at the list, you can see here, we're going to be looking for, things like people who may have a major, things monoline auto, lapses in prior coverage, no prior insurance, lower credit scores, foreign driver's license. That is what I especially wanted to point out to you. Depending on where you are in the state of Ohio, this is a very specific market that we might fill a niche for. Not only when you have people who may have newly immigrated, they're in the process of changing over driver's license, everything from people who may be contract working at companies to somebody who might be working nannying for a family. So there's lots of different people that might fit into this group. So anything to liability only policies, the non-named owner policies. So some of those groups that we're looking for that are going to be a good mix for this product. And moving on to the next slide. Available discounts that you're going to be able to stack on with putting all of these together and building on to create a better price, because obviously we want to offer the best possible price to the customer. So you can see here that we have a variety of discounts that we offer. Homeowners, multi-policy. Casey, that is one that I might toss out to you. I looked out there, but are you aware yet if we are mixing a Bristol West discount and say if they have a policy with foremost choice or foremost signature? I was not aware that had been completed yet in Ohio, and I can certainly put it in the parking lot and check, but I did not know if that was something that you were aware of.
So multi-policy with the existing choice products, yes. We'll do that all day long. The signature, I believe it's the same as what you've heard. We're waiting to marry those together. Some states are accepting it and some states are not, each one being a little unique or different. But yes, with the choice products or the existing foremost stuff, it's always so hard to say existing foremost. Just the choice, the mobile homes, those dwelling policies, recreational stuff, yeah, you you can get that or utilize that multi-policy discount for that.
Okay, that's really good to know, guys, because if you're considering the product mix that we might have with a Bristol West Auto, they may very well have a homeowner's policy that maybe doesn't quite fit into a standard company. And I do want to remind you on the Foremost Choice Specialty side that we do have the homeowner's product in Ohio. That is going to be a great option for that, especially since there's an opportunity to provide some sort of multi-policy discount. Now, the bad news is we are not on your comp rater for Foremost Choice in Ohio. We are, of course, for the former MetLife, Foremost Signature product, but not for the Choice yet. So if you run into questions about those type of clients, you can always reach out to me, give me a call, go ahead and, send me an email, what have you, and I'm happy to answer any of those questions. I also will ask if you are not on mute right now, or just to get a little bit of background noise, if you want to go ahead and put yourself on mute, you are always welcome to unmute yourself to ask questions. But I know with this many people on a call, we just want to make sure that we don't have any background noise going on. So if you take a moment to do that, that would be great. Right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. All right, ease of doing business. Obviously, with this market segment, that is going to be really important because obviously when we're looking at non-standard business, retention is a concern. So what tools do we have in place that are going to help enhance that? So obviously we've got text alerts available. If any of you were on the call yesterday and are joining in again today, we did see not only is there a place to put text alerts for the agency, to get information, but also in place for the clients to set up. So this really helps with those payment reminders and cancel alerts. And you see that we show that we're going to have, up to 10% better retention with that. So non-standard insurance, ease of doing business is really important. And I think the technology piece is even more important. We've got to make sure that people are aware of when things like payments are due and if there's a missed payment. And we have to communicate in the way that they want to. And we know that as technology moves forward, things like texts are really important because I don't know about you, but it even feels like now it's harder for me to go in and regularly check my email. It feels like text are the things that get attention first and foremost. And if somebody sees that, maybe they forgot, and if there's an easy way to link through and go ahead and make the payment right away, that too hopefully is going to make things just easier for you guys as well. You also see here too that we have the opportunity to go paperless to make that easier for the customer. E-signature is something I know that your agency handles that differently and that you do wet signatures, so I don't want to get too deep into that because I know you guys have your own process for that. But certainly if something changes, management can certainly let me know. We can always look at integrating that if that's something that happens in your agency. All right. We see here continued ease of doing business with our claims. Quick way to use the app to take photos and upload those photos. Client can report those claims 24/7. Everything is done electronically with photos and videos. This is really the future of doing business, and certainly clients prefer it. Now, obviously, if you maybe have an older client or somebody that is not available, then our claims people are going to be able to assist with that as well. But for the people that want it, we've got a lot of easy ways to submit a claim if needed. BristolWest.com for client facing, where they can view ID cards, set up their alert preferences, update their EFT information. A lot of self-serve there again, which makes that really friendly for you guys because that's going to mean less calls to you about payments and how much do I owe. As much of that we can do self-service. We know obviously cuts down on service time. You have to handle that in your agency. Now the IA producer site, which we will pop over to really quick. This is the site where you are going to log on to do things like quote business, do your endorsement, upload documents. You can use the chat if you have questions. Bristol West is client facing, while IA Producers is agency facing and is what you are going to use. I want to go ahead and take a pause. I've downloaded a lot of information to you, but I want to see right now if we've got any questions. And I'll tell you, I'm not looking at the chat right now. So Casey, if you see any questions in the chat that I'm not seeing, if you could let me know, that would be great. But unmute yourself if you're muted, and if you've got any questions, let me know.
And quickly, Lisa, I've on the chat for you. I forgot to mention that to everyone. I put a little blurb out there when you were introducing the platform, but Molly has graciously used that platform thus far. So, yep, I will be watching that for you guys.
Okay, great. All right, guys. If there's no questions, we'll go ahead and forge along. And of course, there'll be more opportunities for questions later. All right. Here are some things. How are we maybe different from a Progressive or a Trexus or one of the other carriers that does business similar to what Bristol West is looking for? So we do not require U.S. driver's licenses. A lot of other carriers may allow you first to maybe get a policy, but then at some point they require you to get that U.S. license. So that is not something that we are going to require. So again, this is an important market with foreign driver's licenses that I think that we could really fill a niche in your agency if you're finding a hard place, that's a hard, type of business for you all to place. Multiple accidents and violations. Basically, we have a rate for that. So depending on what the driving history is, you are most likely going to get a rate back. Now, it might not be an attractive rate depending on how long of a laundry list there might be. But again, depending on the client, if that client needs insurance, then this is going to be something that we're going to be able to rate almost every client. So DUIs, we accept DUIs and majors. Some other companies do. Obviously, your non-standard companies and your higher risk companies do accept depending on those. But those are things that we do accept here with Bristol West. This is a nice feature as well. You are able to run either Clue or the MVR so before you are submitting the policy to confirm the rate. Usually with many companies, it's all or none. But if, obviously we do have, we do chargebacks based on, ordering reports. That is in the program guide, which I'll make sure that you guys have. But we're pretty standard. Casey, did you say that was for the chargebacks for the MVRs? Is that like an 80-20? What do you happen to know what our ratio is for Bristol West that's easy, or is it does it depend on the state?
Yeah, so for us, it says, and I'm looking, I'll read it verbatim, when less than 80% of the reports ordered in connection with quotes you submit convert to an issued policy, the agency will be charged an average of the total cost we incur for the above reports. Above reports, MVR, prior accident reports, current insurance reports, just to name a few, and the traditional ones. So it's universal. I will be very careful. I've learned a few states are different, but for the most part, anytime I've operated under this program, it's that 80% threshold.
Okay, very good, very good. All right, good to know, guys. So something to keep in mind, and the ability to run one or the other is kind of a nice feature, again, that's a little bit different. All right, so I want to be respectful of your time, and looks like we've got just about 8 more minutes, just a few more slides to get through, and then I've got a couple of pieces too that I will send over to Justin and Nick for distribution. That's like a quick sheet for Ohio and just some other tools. So this just shows you essentially what the quoting looks like in the web page, and I'll pop over there in a second, but it's extremely easy. And of course, you're going to be using your comparative rater and bridging over. So you're just double checking to make sure that all of the information is entered in correctly. But again, pretty simple. Again, all the questions about for the discounts, you see multi-policy, primary residence, whether it's owning or renting. All of these things are listed, so there's not a guess of where the discounts are located. This is all pretty simple, and integrated throughout your quoting process. Let's touch on comparative rater. Obviously, Casey was talking about it earlier. I touched on it earlier with comparative rater. Obviously, we want to make sure that we are bridging, bridging over to get the right rate, because we want to make sure all of the information is correct. And as you know, with non-standard, depending on what the driving record looks like, we want to make sure that we're capturing all of the information, especially if something happened maybe more recently that we didn't know about. So getting the full VIN number is obviously important to make sure that we get that in there correctly the first time. And then obviously getting the pay plan changes might change the overall premium, so you guys are aware, depending on whether it's EFT or the different options available based on the discounts for the pay plans. Right. Not a whole lot of information on the comparative rater. We do know that we will show up, especially once you guys get signed in. I have talked to a few other agents who have told me that the comparative rater bridging for this is quite smooth, but I will rely on you to tell me if that is not the case. If you are having issues or concerns, we have a team that can help. So be sure to let me know. I know we're waiting for everyone's individual IDs. I know that Brad Oltmans has received his too, so maybe the leadership team has already been playing around with it. So if anyone has any questions based on their experiences so far, don't hesitate to reach out about those. All right. This is a slide of what the website looks like. So here, again, this just highlights a few of the things that are available. Chat now allows you to get answers quickly if you're working on a quote or an endorsement. You've got access to the program guides listed here. And I actually downloaded a copy of the program guide that I'll pop over here to in a second so that you can take a look at it, as well as, job aids, e-learning, kind of all the things that you need here are self-contained within the site. Contact and claims info, all available on the website, listed here. And then some different resources for you. These are our websites for agencies, so this is something more that management is, I'm sure, going to be working on. But I do like to go ahead and let you guys know on the Foremost Education opportunity to get some CE credits. So that's a good place to do that. If you have questions about that, let me know. All right. I'm going to stop sharing this because I want to go ahead and share just a couple of the sheets that I have over here. And I'm going to send these to Nick and Justin and Kathy and the whole team. Let me get over to her back here. All right. I've got a few different things pulled up. This is what the program guide for Ohio looks like. You want the 3.0 program guide because this is all new business effective 11/11 of last year. So this is the new, shiny, updated program guide for Bristol, Weston, Ohio. This is going to give you everything you need to know about ineligible cars, ineligible drivers, what will take, what will not take. You can see that this is where we get into kind of the nitty-gritty and where pretty much all of your questions can be answered about the minutia. Somebody had asked yesterday about 12-month policies. 6-month policies are what we have available now. I got some information about there is potential down the road that like certain agencies can be appointed for 12-month policies. I think that has a lot to do with depending on the amount of business that's being written and other things. But I think for now, just focus on those 6-month policies. I also wanted to bring up this sheet again that I will be sending. Basically, everything you need to know about Ohio Auto Product. Gives you a place to put your producer code. Obviously, do not beep your password hint. Don't put your password on here. I know everybody jots it on the back of it, but I always joke, keep that password secure. But this gives you basically just a really good overview of your discounts, your eligibility, and general underwriting. So again, this will be sent over to you guys, and then you all can keep this either electronic or print it out for your reference. This is just, again, a job aid. This just talks about policy summary and endorsements. Anything where there are only 3 steps for the for finding something. This is, you guys are all very savvy. You're going to get on this website and start pushing buttons and be able to see what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and jump over now just to the website so you can see what it actually looks like real and live. And while I am doing that, we're pushing up against time. We just have a minute. I want to make sure that we've got an opportunity for questions. So while I bring this up, if somebody has a question or other thing that they want me to check on as a takeaway, go ahead and don't be shy. Just go ahead and let me know here. But you can see here, this is the live website. I was already logged in. But you will get to it. It will have you enter your producer code and then your username and your password, and then you have the opportunity to save that information. It will allow you to kind of keep your information there so it's a little easier to log in. But again, you saw a lot of these resources were covered in the PowerPoint, easy to get to. And again, as you engage with the website and have questions, I'm always here to help. But 2:30. Like I said, I want to be respectful of time. What questions do you guys have?